Good morning and welcome to this short live webinar. And I'm sharing with you from my heart. You may be in a situation where you personally or someone you know close to you has been affected by an internet scam. If you have, my heart goes out to you. Allow me explain. About 4 years ago, I became aware by a dear friend in Dublin that a member of my family was ill-treating my elderly mom. And mom had been taken to casualty where the consultant was concerned about the bruising on her arms. And my mom tried to cover the incident by protecting the two people concerned. One was my younger brother and his wife. And subsequently, my friend was concerned, so she phoned me. And I was devastated, but I contacted my brothers and sisters in Dublin and I asked their advice and asked if they could visit mom and give me some feedback. Well, they did, and they were horrified. So they asked me, because of having nursed for so many years and come across situations similar where elderly people had been mistreated or ill-treated. So I was left with this huge bombshell of reporting on my younger brother, who happened to be the chief fire officer of St. James's Hospital. So I prayed long and hard and fasted, what should I do? And I was guided in prayer to make a formal complaint for this to be investigated. And I made my complaint to the chief health officer for the health authority in Ireland. What I didn't realise, that person was my brother's boss. And obviously they were good friends. And of course, the complaint was watered down, where they were told that I was manic, been in prison, that I'd slept with all the monks in the monastery, that I was sacked from the monastery or sacked from nursing, that the Teo community that was founded by St. Francis and myself was an excuse. I hate to use foul language on the internet, but we'll just say it wasn't a desirable community, that we were a load of headbangers and deranged paedophiles. Now, I wasn't aware that my brother had done this, nor was I aware that the truth had obviously challenged him and his wife. But they immediately put on the internet with the help of another member of the family, because the truth was too close to home. And it was a member of the community who phoned me from Ireland to say, "Are you aware that you're on the internet as a scammer?" Well, I was confused, I was horrified, and I was scared to even look at it and read it because I knew it would trigger off a huge depression, bearing in mind I suffer with depression. But I was given the strength to look at it and I felt sick. I felt sick because this young brother I reared, having to leave school aged 11 and do without an education, so that I could rear him whilst my mum was very ill in hospital for 2 years in Dublin. My instant reaction was to get on a plane to Dublin and kick his butt and teach him a few home truths. But when I brought this awful travesty of truth into prayer, the message from Jesus was very simple. Stand back, pray, send love, only love, to those responsible. I found that very difficult, but I did it. And for the last 3 years, I have continued every day to hold my brother and his sister-in-law and one of my nephews, who's big on computers and the internet, in prayer. And I know that adverse scam that's on the internet has affected my health in many ways, but it's also convinced a lot of people that I am an immoral human being and that the Teo community is an excuse for, forgive me, for a good bonk. We're human, but we're also divine. We're spiritual, and yet we're weak, we're fragile, but we must always put on the mindset of Christ. And if you are in a situation that I am in today, where people remind you that they've read this about you, your ego smarts, doesn't it? Because we want people to think the best of us. I can tell you, I had a huge ego then. I don't have one now, because though I was made aware yesterday that it's still alive on the internet, and one of our community read it, who is a priest, and he assured me that he made his own decision because he discerned that there was something more to this that wasn't being said. Today I feel so sorry for those persons involved in doing such a terrible thing, not only to me but to many other children. But now I discern it is the face of evil. When you surrender your heart to God to live a simple life and follow in the footsteps of Francis as we do, and in Jesus, you are automatically going to encounter an attack, sometimes of the most vitriolic kind, as I have, where I'm reminded on an ad hoc basis from people who want to join the community or want to access one of my courses online, and then they're made aware of all this filth and garbage and evil. And they just challenge me, are you this Sean Bradley? And I said, yes, I am. But they don't want to know the truth. They've made their judgment, and yes, it hurts. But we must always give that hurt to Christ, because he understands how we're feeling. He suffered and died an inhumane death for our freedom. And he calls you and me by name. He calls my brother and my sister-in-law and my nephew by name to follow him and live a simple, God-fearing life. But they've chosen a different life. And I know my poor mom who was dying, they broke into her account, they took all her savings, they even brought her home on oxygen and put her in front of a camera to do a YouTube video, spoon-feeding her words, because I could hear them, denouncing me as her eldest son. And 2 weeks later my mum died, and I never had chance. I never had chance to say goodbye. But my mum must see the big picture now from heaven, and she'll know who was at fault. But God love her, she was vulnerable. She was at their mercy. What must she have been going through? Living in the Mews, a small bungalow at the back of the garden. She gave them the family house, which was wonderful, so they could keep an eye on her. But she was like a prisoner. If you know of any elderly person that is being subject to harassment or violence, ill treatment of any kind, you must act according to your conscience and report those members. Often it's within one's family. And even though there's a price to pay for speaking the truth, God is on our side. And God will never abandon us if we speak our truth. I spoke my truth in love. It was an agonizing decision to do, but I did it in love to protect an elderly human being, not just because she was my mom, but because she had a right to dignity in her old age, especially as she was dying. So this morning when we went live for morning prayer, I read this beautiful message from Jesus, and I'd love to share it with you. May I? I designed you to live in union with me. This union does not negate who you are. It actually makes you more fully yourself. When you try to live independently of me, you experience emptiness and dissatisfaction. You may gain the whole world and yet lose everything that really counts. find fulfillment through living close to me, yielding to my purposes for you. Though I may lead you along paths that feel alien to you, trust that I know what I am doing for you. If you follow me wholeheartedly, you will discover facets of yourself that were previously hidden. I know you intimately, far better than you know yourself. In union with me, you are complete. In closeness to me, you are transformed more and more into the one I designed you to be. So let us conclude with a simple prayer, which I dedicate to you if you have been affected, as I have, by scammers trying to discredit you and trying to alienate your heart from living a peace-filled, loving life in service to God, to wanting to retaliate in anger. I want to offer this beautiful prayer. It is the Lord's Prayer. It's a different version, and it's chosen from the Anglican Daily Prayer Book in New Zealand. I dedicate it to you and to those who are engaged in acts of violence towards our elderly, vulnerable people, especially family members. Eternal Spirit, Earth Maker, Pain Bearer, Life Giver, Source of all that is and that shall be, Father and Mother of us all, loving God in whom is heaven, the hallowing of your name echoes through the universe. The way of your justice be followed by all the peoples of the world. Your heavenly will be done by all created beings, and your commonwealth of peace and freedom sustain our hope and come on earth. With the bread we need for today, feed us. In the hurts we absorb from one another, forgive us. In times of temptation and test, strengthen us. From trials too great to endure, spare us. From the grip of all that is evil, free us. For you reign in the glory of the power that is love, now and forevermore. Amen. If you ever wish to contact me, I will listen. And if you need prayer and support, I voluntarily walk with you as your prayer partner. Just send me an email, all lowercase, to Brother Sean, SEAN, @btinternet.com, or go to my website, Celtic Franciscan Monk, all one word.com. God bless you. Keep strong, and be aware that yes, we come under attack in our service to God, but let not our hearts be troubled, and let not fear alienate us from the path of love.